This is something I wanted to do earlier. I was looking for someone to have a piss because the toilet's right, and I didn't want to come down because I thought they were all babies' graves and it upsets me, but they're not, right? But look, I found this tree. Look at this tree, look. Look. It's got two trunks, look. I don't want to stand on any graves, but look at that. What an interesting tree that is, look. I found one of these at the caravan I was in down at High Haldon. An interesting tree, but look at that for a tree, look. It's got a whole trunk going up there, and another one going up there, look. Look. How's that for a tree, look? All you nature experts. I don't know nothing about trees and plants. I like pretty plants and that, but all the trees I've noticed over the years that have fallen unnaturally. When I went on my James Bond mission from Harlow to North Weald, because I got spooked by the graveyard that day with all my family names in, and the only one that wasn't a family member name was Graham Freeman, and I'd done an anagram of it, of Saint, and it made Saint. I can't remember what it was because I like doing anagrams. But yeah, what an interesting tree this is. Look. You know, it's got two. I've never seen that, two trunks. Look at that. And three trunks. Look, it's got three. I didn't notice that. It's got three trunks. Look at that. Look at the way this grows. Look at that. Look at that for a strange tree, or interesting tree rather. Look at that. And then it comes down. Like I showed that one in Appledore that grows downwards. Look at that. I've never seen a tree like it. Look. See, this is what I loved about going fishing while you lot were at school, listening to a geezer in a fucking blazer and a shirt, sweating armpits. Boring us to death. I was doing this, looking at the animals, the wildlife. Look at that. That's amazing, that. It's got three trunks. Look. Give someone a mention, that. Look at that. That's mad. This is what I find interesting, not fucking Twitter and Love Island and shit. Like, look here, this is the most fascinating tree I've ever seen. Look, any nature people, have a look at this tree. Look at it. I only come down here to try and have a piss, where I can be seen, to try and be a bit subtle. But look, I'm glad I've come down here now. All right, Lil, always take that to remind me. Love you. And Eve and Ruby, but purple reminds me of Lily. It's not favouritism. It's just that she was wearing that Sophia the First thing. Look at this, look. Look at it. Look at it all up there, look. This is all one tree, look. It's got all pine cones on as well, look. So it's one of them. Another one that reminds me of my granddad, Enfield Park. There used to be all cones over there, look. I just said something. Look. I said that about something up here that reminds me of my granddad. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's it, the blossom tree. There's a white blossom tree in Raymond's garden. I remember his name now. It's Raymond. I forgot. And he told me this grave here. I'm not going to film it because I don't want to be. But this is the grave. Look, that I said I thought was Collision, and he said it's Collison. And I said, I think a man and wife's in there, which isn't sweet. But I thought it was a bit sad that there's another two of them up here that are buried separately, and I thought if they're family, it's a bit sad. And I saw it on that memorial down at Tenterton yesterday that there's another Collison in there, and I told him about it. Oh look, Sarah Jane. And I told him about it, and he said, "Oh, it's Collison, not Collision." Yeah, look, that tree. All these remind me of my granddad, because all these used to be in Enfield. And I'll tell you the thing that reminds me, he was the one that got me into plants and pike and all that. He took me over Enfield Park one day to catch tadpoles, and there was a big pike sitting on the side where someone had caught it and killed it. And I was fascinated by a pike. It was all to do with my granddad. And he taught me how to do my shoelaces up, and I still, every day I struggle. Maybe that's him reminding me of my roots. by my shoelace being undone. He taught me, and I'm 50 this year, and I still can't do up my shoelaces. But yeah, that's an interesting tree, look. And I'm sure they're lilies. I used to buy them every week. I'm sure they're lilies. Always something there to remind me, Lil. Anyway, I've had a good day here today. Whoever it was who come and opened the toilet, I was out there doing something, and I see a car come up, so I walk around and I see him come up there with some keys. I said, "Oh, you got the key to the toilet?" And he goes, "No, you can use that one." I went in the toilet, come out, and he'd gone. So anyway, there's Raymond, look.